This is an issue that is important to thousands of my constituents. Right now, 85% of all drug deaths in the state of Indiana are as a result of fentanyl. And I'm deeply concerned about the gaps along our southern border. A number of my colleagues have asked about those. I know that invokes the responsibility of Mexico, where the cartels have a significant presence. But it's China that's one of the top producers of these active pharmaceutical ingredients that go into the production of fentanyl. Of course, those inputs exist for licit purposes, but are diverted criminally for illicit purposes of producing fentanyl. You have stated clearly, Administrator Milgram, that your top priority is dealing with the Sinaloa and Jalisco cartels in Mexico. Given the role of the People's Republic of China in terms of production of these raw materials, that seems to be a really important line of effort as well. You did mention this in your opening statement. Is it your agency's assessment that we're going to be able to stop the cartels from getting these precursor chemicals from the People's Republic of China?
Thank you for the question, Senator. When I talk about DEA's network-wide approach, I am including the facilitators in China, whether it's Chinese chemical companies or Chinese nationals, chemical brokers, or illicit finance people operating in China, the U.S., or Mexico. So just to make sure that I'm accurately explaining, our top operational goal is to defeat the two cartels and their criminal networks, and those networks are not just the command and control.
They extend into China.
Exactly,
right.
and those partnerships, DEA investigation was just unsealed last week. It is a Chinese national, Carlos Algrado, who was a precursor chemical broker operating from Mexico.
Yeah.
He's alleged to have basically taken precursor chemicals from China and India into Mexico so that the Jalisco cartel could make meth.
Okay. Well, I've limited time, but I thought it was really important that Dr. Gupta mentioned that China has been unwilling to engage with us on this topic. So, you know, the Chinese government, they're part of the network. If they're going to allow this to happen without intervention. The ranking member mentioned that fentanyl didn't even come up during the president's conversation with Xi Jinping. I think that's a notable failure to bring up something that's a top priority of my constituents. The president's State of the Union address, he mentioned fentanyl, commendably, but failed to call out China's role in production of fentanyl. We're clearly facing a lot of challenges vis-a-vis the Chinese Communist Party. I acknowledge that. What actions, diplomatic or otherwise, have we taken against China for their failure to meaningfully engage?
Thank you, Senator, for that question. Number one, we do continue to engage or try to engage with the PRC on various levels. We are also talking to other countries to see if they can engage with China on a number of levels. We have identified, as Administrator Milgram has noted, we have identified businesses in China that we know are working with the
I'm coming
cartels.
To the end of, but the Chinese government has not engaged. I know we've tried to engage. You deserve credit for that. What has been the consequences to the Chinese government for their failure to engage with us about the shipment of precursor fentanyl-producing agents into Mexico that end up in Indiana and kill 85% of people who die of drug deaths?
Well, as I was going to say, we we will use every tool in our toolbox, including rewards programs, the narcotics rewards programs, and the transnational organized crime rewards programs, to go after those entities in China that are moving these chemicals. The fact is, China wants to be on the world stage, and in order to do that, because this is a global problem, other countries are also going to push them to do the right thing on this issue.
You will use. That's prospective.
No, we are using.
You are using.
We are using.
Okay.
Yes.
And what leverage have we brought to bear against the Chinese government themselves to shape their future risk calculus and decision-making framework so that they can cooperate with us to prevent these shipments in the first place?
We're going to continue to push for engagement. We have worked with them just last year in a multilateral forum to schedule 3 precursor chemicals. We will continue to do what it takes to bring China back to the table.
And should we expect President Biden to bring this issue to the attention of and his concerns directly to Xi Jinping?
There should be no doubt that this is a priority, a topic of concern for this president, for the Secretary of State, to get at both directly with the PRC and in a global effort, bringing together other countries to get at this issue as well.
Thank you, sir. I'm going to stay on top of this.